Hey guys, Eric here. So in this video I'm going to be discussing with you how to balance your life as an INFJ in a way that allows you to live more, I would say more like an ambivert in an extroverted society. Um, I've recently got a comment, and before I really get into this video, I want to stop and say thank you for those of you who have been commenting on my videos. Because of you, I've had more ideas for content to make, and as you've seen, I've been making videos every single day as a result, so please don't stop commenting. Please don't stop sharing your thoughts. I've been asking for this for over 6 months, and I'm just now starting to get active responses, and that kind of frustrates me and upsets me, because if it took 6 months of me asking people, please talk, then, it shouldn't have taken that long. And I can't believe that I have climbed the scale. I've been asking since I had 40 subscribers, 50 subscribers, 60. Every single time I would release a video for the last couple of months, I've been saying, please comment. And people like the video, they'll say, hey, I always love your content. And I'm thinking, so you've been watching my content. You've been hearing my requests. You're like, oh, I love your videos. I'm so thankful for you. But you won't work with me. For everyone's sake. Like this, I don't make this content for me. I know this stuff. I make it for everyone else who doesn't know it. And I am apologize if I'm offending anyone right now, but I am genuinely upset because how many people do you think suffered? How many? Because you waited 6 months, 180 days, someone else suffered, was depressed, didn't know up from down, left from right, and they can't even figure out why they're stressed or upset. All because someone didn't say something. This is why people, not saying this is what's going on, but this is why people take their own life, because no one talks. And I'm just now starting to get some vulnerability, just now starting to get a community that's actually speaking up. And I'm so angry that people have had to suffer, all because no one would say anything. I love your videos. I follow everything you say. Oh, this answered all of my questions. Oh, it's like you're inside of my head. But you wait 3 months before you finally say this. Anyways, I need to move on. This is a heated topic for me, and I'm not going to stay on it because that's not what this video is about. But for those of you who are just now starting to talk, thank you. But I really don't want... But before I go on, I want to say, please continue commenting. Seriously. It's taken this long for me to be able to start answering people's questions. And I'm sure you're not the only one having them. So please, for everyone's sake, for us confused, misguided, hurt INFJs out here, and for the sake of those who don't understand us, so that they can understand us, just start asking questions. It takes, what, 5 seconds? Depending on how long your paragraph is, 20 seconds, maybe a minute. And I always answer them. Look at every single comment. I always like them and I always reply to them. Alright, I'm not idle. I'm not just saying this for the sake of my channel and popularity. I could care less about popularity. God's going to make me famous. He already told me he'll make my name great among the nations. That's prophecy he gave me. I don't need anyone's approval. Whether you like it or not, whether you support me or not, it's going to happen. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for you. So understand that this is for you, and if you don't want to comment, don't. But for those of you who have been, please continue. I really don't want to... I really don't want to have to go through this again, praying, wondering. I've spent months praying, God, I really want people to start commenting so I can actually help more. And it's taken 3 months for my prayers to get answered. Why did it take 3 months for God to move on someone's heart? No. Why did it take 3 months for someone to listen to God's unctions and the unctions of the Holy Spirit? That's what frustrates me most. 3 months of ignoring God and still on the job. And that inkling in the back of your mind that says, I should probably say something. I should probably do something. So let's get back on track. INFJs, how do you live in an extroverted society as an extrovert? One of the comments I got was, I feel like us INFJs miss out on so much of life and what it has to offer because of our limitations and needs. This requires a balance. Another person. And since I keep having to pause my videos due to other people, I think that's a great place to start. You need to balance your own life by removing yourself from stimulating environments. Chirping birds in the morning, get rid of them. If you have to use white noise, turn on a fan, turn on a heater, a loud heater, or the ceiling fan, put in earplugs, whatever you have to do. Remove excess stimulation, meaning you have to give yourself just as much as you want, no more than that. If you're craving it, only as much as you want, because your body knows how to regulate its own, knows how to regulate the ascending reticular activating system, which is a portion of your brain that regulates stimulation. So, listen to your body is the first thing. When too much is too much, get rid of it. And if you can't get rid of it, that's going to be a problem. It has to be managed. You have to set boundaries. Personally, I'm owning multiple properties. Whenever I get married and I need a timeout or I need to have my own space, my wife needs her own space, I can take the kids and go, for a day. Or I can go for a day or for 10 hours. Or come home after work and be like, hey, I'm going to be late coming home. Got off work early, heading over to my place, It's something I need, all right? It's not a diss. It's not like I'm separating from my wife. I'm married to her. I want to sleep in the same bed, but INFJs can't do it. It's that simple. If you're married and you're an INFJ, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't be around somebody all the time. You can't be in the same room as them all the time. You can't be sleeping with them all the time. You can't be having conversations all the time. You can't be playing games with them all the time. You got to have your own space. You can't do that whenever you're married and have kids unless you have your own space. Get your own space. Step number 2. You need to have a box that no one else has access to. And that's a very, very broad phrase. I don't mean that in any specific way. It could be a literal closet. It could be a tiny room. It could be your own bedroom, or it could be the basement. It could be the shed. You need to have a place where you can go. That's your space, your workshop. That's where you go to be alone and no one bothers you there. So that's the second thing you need in terms of balance. Third thing you need is I'll recap. Remove excess stimulation, chirping birds, other people talking, kids, pets, whatever it is. And put yourself in a place, that's number 2, that is your own confinement, your own box, your own room, space. And then step 3 is don't spend too much time alone. You might say, well, Eric, I thought the point of spending time alone was so we had energy to go out. Yes, that's true, but most INFJs don't recognize this happening. It took me a while to notice the signs myself. Too much alone time drains us. It actually does the exact same thing as socializing, and then we don't have energy to socialize even though we need it. So the way to solve this, work out. Go outside, expose yourself to the elements. You don't have to hear anyone's voices. But simply seeing cars or seeing people driving on the side of the road will give you enough stimulation, because it's happening on a subconscious level. You're picking up on their body language signs on that person, on the car, their preferences, the music that they're playing, which definitely careful about loud booming music. But I said this in my last video. The subconscious mind processes information 500,000 times faster than you're even aware of. So you're picking up on these people's body language. That's all the stimulation you need. Balance yourself. When you're alone, you'll know when you've had enough alone time because you start getting bored and depressed. That means you need to go out. Whether that be exercising, going to the gym, go shopping, take that time. That is the time when you should go out to the store and shop for 5 to 10 minutes. Just get some things you need or get everything you need and then go home. And when you go home, it depends on how you're feeling. You'll need to do one of 2 things. Expose yourself to a little bit of extra stimulation, whether that be having a cat purr while you watch TV or do whatever you're doing. Or the opposite will be true, and you'll need more alone time. And what this is going to do is it's going to, if you can just imagine winding a gear manually, it's going to add a little bit of extra strength for your next sprint. So the next time you go out into public, you'll be able to stay out for 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, right? You'll be able to go out to a bar for an hour and a half, or even to like a reception party at a wedding for an hour and a half. I wouldn't say more than that. That's too many people, too big a crowd. But how to live as an ambivert in an extroverted society is the 3 things you need to do. 1, remove excess stimulation when you've had enough. Only get as much as you want. 2, have your own space. And 3, know how to manage yourself. You need to recognize the signs when you start getting bored and depressed. That means you need to expose yourself to minor, not heavy, minor stimulation. For me, tabletop games. I'll mute myself and I'll just listen to two people talk in their characters. They're not talking to me. It's completely role play. But I role played for 10 and a half, or GM'd for 10 and a half hours last week, or the week before last week. 10 and a half hours of non-stop tabletop RPGs. So believe me whenever I say that your hobbies don't have to be done alone. It could TV, right? These videos talking and watching anime or reality TV shows or even Netflix, whatever it is, takes energy because we're analyzing the people's behavioral signs, their real voice actors. We're listening to their voice and we're picking up on if something's wrong in their personal life. It flows into their vocals whenever they're doing voice acting. Most people wouldn't even notice, but we pick up on that because we're HSPs and empaths. Most of us are empaths. And again, I hate that term. I absolutely hate it. I still need to do a video on them. But effectively, what this means is anytime you are around someone, they don't have to say a word. You're going to notice if something is wrong, and you will, if they are sad, you're going to feel sad as a result because your brain will emulate what you're perceiving in that person. If somebody else is happy, you'll be happy. If somebody else is being negative, you'll start being negative, or at least thinking negative thoughts. If somebody else is full of excitement, one of two things will happen. You'll either become exhausted and need to be alone, or B, you'll share their excitement. Maybe not about the same things. So I hate the term empath for that reason. HSP means hyperreactive nervous system. Empath, it comes from the occult term in witchcraft, but for the sake of terminology, I'll just use it and say the accurate definition is your brain. It's like sympathy pain, or pregnancy symptoms, sympathy pregnancy symptoms. It's basically the same thing. An empath, I hate that term. Absolutely hate it. I need to figure out a new way to describe this. I'm just gonna stick with highly sensitive person, because there's different levels, different extremities that a person will experience. Your brain will emulate what you feel or what you see, and you will feel what you are perceiving. You'll have increased cognitive, emotional, and heightened sensitive sensory responses. That's the word. So when somebody else is sad, you can physically feel sad and emotionally feel sad, and it's cognitively exhausting, mentally exhausting. Same difference. So hopefully this clarifies some things. You are still an introvert at heart. You INFJs out there, you're not going to just magically be able to go out and party for 3 hours. You can't go to a concert. It's not in us. It's our brain's just not wired for it. There's nothing we can do. You just let it go. You're not going to be. I can't wait to cut these bangs back. They look so uneven. It's just for now, just until it grows out more. You can't do anything about it, guys. It's just not how your brain is wired. So, the comment said, I feel like we're missing out on so much in life we're not. Other people don't even experience close to the same degree that we experience because we are HSPs. We have heightened responses, hyperreactive nervous system. So romance is intensified for us. Happiness is intensified for us. When somebody else is happy, when we get to make someone else happy, the amount of satisfaction we feel is intensified. We get to enjoy parts of life that other people can't even imagine because it's beyond them. It's beyond their emotional response. And they don't even have the mental capacity to fathom what it's like. And it's because of this we get to experience life on a whole nother level of extremities, both good and bad. So while someone might say, I feel like we're missing out, I say the exact opposite. I feel like other people are missing out. And even if we wanted to enjoy those things, listen. Even if you wanted to enjoy the things that an extrovert does, concerts and loud music and everything, you can't. You can't. And you know what? They probably can't enjoy the things you get to enjoy. So I say they're missing out. You see what I'm saying? You're comparing yourself to someone, to other people that have absolutely no idea what you've experienced. And they will never be able to experience things the way you do. Because if they did, they wouldn't be able to live like an extrovert. You know what I mean? It's like there are so few of us INFJs out there in the world that we feel so like such a black sheep. Even if we're identified as being a sheep, we feel like we're a black sheep because we don't see other INFJs living the same life that we do. And we feel like we're missing out as a result. And other people see us and they have absolutely no idea, how can you live like this? Because they don't live like that. As a matter of fact, they probably couldn't, because we require so much, so much less effort and amount of stimulation to be happy, and we experience it to such a greater degree that to us it's bliss. To someone else it's boring. You see what I'm trying to say? You can say that you're missing out, but when you find somebody else who enjoys the same hobbies as you, it's almost like you're not missing out anymore. And not being able to see other INFJs struggling with and living the same life as you, with the same tendencies and the same responses, it's really, it can feel like you are the only one. And that can make you feel like you're missing out, but you're not. And I guarantee you, if you got a group of 5 INFJs together and we all sat in silence and like read books or played games on our computer in the same room, we'd end up just looking at each other and smiling and having a great time. Because that's all we need to be happy. We are so responsive to the slightest amount of stimuli or emotional response. And then, like, imagine one INFJ gets sad, and all of the other INFJs in the room look over and be like, "Aw," and we all comfort each other, and the entire room is full of love. If you can think that way, and the entire Earth was filled with INFJs, it's like, wow. Think. We couldn't raise kids. Let's just be honest. If it was all INFJs, the population of the Earth would go extinct. I guarantee it. Sooner or later, we'd stop having kids. It's just. My point is just this, that if you get 5 INFJs in the room together, suddenly we're not missing out on anything. And I think that's really